Hey, hey, hey! Welcome everybody to the Personal Free Branding webinar with Nathaniel Schooler and some special guests today, Mike Moore, and if we can have, Jason Kanigan. We're going to be lucky today if he had already started his headset audio settings. I don't know. Welcome,
I don't know either.
Mike. Welcome, Nathaniel.
Can you hear me?
Hello, hello.
Yeah, you're back, Jason. You're back.
We got you. Fantastic. Well, it's lovely. Thanks for hosting, Stefan. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
And thanks very much for dropping by, Jason, and Mike, who's someone I've been admiring for quite a few years. And asking him earlier a lot of people are sort of confused about what he does. I'm not really confused because I think peak performance coach is something, it sums it up to me, but that's perhaps because I'm in business. I think if people are a lot older, they might not actually understand what that means. But welcome, Mike.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Appreciate the compliments. It's a good description. We'll talk. It's a good description.
So really, I just wanted to ask you a couple of questions. I think Jason might have a question for you as well. But I was sort of wondering, is your personal brand, is it something that you actually designed yourself, or did it just miraculously sort of appear?
I think I was born into it. I was actually raised by a high school football coach in California, and ended up doing this as a bad career choice. I always joke, I bailed on coaching as a young guy because there was no money in it and went into business, but I took everything that my father had taught me from 7, 8 years old up, and I was fortunate to get to watch and be around coaches my whole life. Grew up in locker rooms, so I got to see how teams were built. When I went into business, as a young man, the companies that I worked for would ask me, how are you doing what you're doing in leadership or management? When I was young, I had no clue. I was doing what I'd been taught to do as a coach, so it wasn't formulated. But by pretty early in my 20s, I started to formulate how I was applying to coaching. So it kind of just, the mentoring coaching was what I was born into, but I took it into business, and so consciously, yeah, I've been a peak performance coach and a coach for years. I just do it in business. So that's why it resonates with you.
Fantastic. So did you actually take the time to craft your wording before you sort of promoted yourself, or did it just happen along the way?
It's an evolution. I even speaking full time for the last 26 years. In the beginning, I tried to record everything and go back. And then I realized that if this was something I was born to do, I had to study and learn and keep growing myself and trust that I would have a good message when I got with an audience. So a lot of it happens, I think, on my feet, and a lot of it happens on the fly. And the being a performance coach, leadership performance coach, mentor, those things are always, I'm conscious of trying to make sure people know I do that. So that is, but yeah, a lot of the wordsmithing comes just kind of out of my intent and motive, which we'll get to in a minute too, because since 96, I started in sales and business and sales management. The sales part of it, by 96, I had stopped teaching traditional sales and started working on the motive and intent and, trying to get to the core of why sales happen. So that changed a lot of not trying to script things and not trying to be too conscious, but really try to get to the heart of caring about and helping people, even if it was at just a sales environment. Let go of the end result and try to help.
Very interesting. So yeah, Jason's big into sales. He does a lot. He does closing. He closes sales. His business actually is a professional closing engine. Is what he calls it. And so we're both all three of us, well, four of us, including you, Mike, of course, are very interested in selling. So, have you got any kind of wise words that you can kind of share with people?
Well, in regards to their personal growth, it is the issue, and as you mentioned, Nathan, Nathaniel, as we've gone back and forth. Apologize. I keep trying to shorten your name up.
Nat is fine, as long as you don't call me Matthew or Matt or like.
Well, I got that from my father too, because he couldn't remember his players' names half the time, but he still helped him. So, on a personal level, we tend to try to want to find the easy way to do things and be comfortable and think that'll make us happy. And from the beginning, for me, what I knew and was raised in and then have studied, and it's a joy today because technology lets us follow the neurology and how it's working in the brain, but we're built to struggle. And out of struggle comes personal progress, which produces happiness. So there's a real contradiction. If we're not struggling and getting out of that comfort, we've heard about comfort zones, but it really is just to embrace struggle. If I can embrace struggle, it's no longer painful. I can grow, and that produces happiness. On the sales side, as I mentioned, I since the mid-90s, when I started talking about the internet and how it was going to impact, and now we're facing AI. And actually, in 1994 in New York, I told a large group of salespeople, I got half this right. I told them what was coming with the internet would replace 95% of them, and they would all be delivering products. I think I'm right on the fact that it's going to replace the average salesperson, but there aren't going to be any delivery jobs because now we've got some drones that are going to be doing that and self-driving vehicles. So on a sales side, what happened for me, as I mentioned, was really going to the fact that the intent to make a sale, and I'd love to hear Jason's thoughts as a closing expert, but the intent to make a sale, the motive to make a sale is selfish. And that turns people off, and it's created this dysfunctional buyer and seller relationship where buyers don't like salespeople and salespeople don't like buyers. And so if nothing else, we have to look at that and go, we got something really wrong. And we open the door for Pepper the robot to take the place of salespeople simply because nobody wants to really talk to a salesperson unless you can change your intent to really help people. So even from the beginning, as we talked, my intent is to help people. If I can do that and build trust and throw a little one in, I got a book coming out in March here about Build Trust, which is about intentions and not just sales, but in all of life. If we can't build trust, then nothing else follows.
I have a question for Mike today. It's all about that buzzword that everybody uses in sales. Big groups, small companies, medium-sized company, they use that wording called the trusted advisors, right? So what is a trusted advisor in regard of that relationship based on trust that, any salespeople or performer should, go through in a journey?
The top 5% of salespeople don't go into a sales opportunity with a desire to make a sale. They go in to help, and they make customers. And it's interesting, over these last 30 or 40 years, I hear sales leaders complain that their people are order takers. And I always remind them the top 5% of salespeople are order takers because they base the customers who buy from them. And so a trusted advisor, and this goes back to that motive and intent. My intent is to make a sale. I call it an anti-sales virus. You get infected with an anti-sales virus that makes people not trust you. If my intention is selfish, if I'm only focused on the transaction, I'm no longer focused on the ownership experience of my customer, the customer experience, I'm trying to make the buying experience wonderful, not the ownership experience. And Steve Jobs said it best when he was talking about technology. He said, if you don't start with the customer experience and work back to technology, you're not going to sell much. You can even have good technology. So for all of us in sales, to be a trusted advisor, we have to set our selfishness aside. And that's a daily thing. It's overcoming our human nature. My nature, I wake up in the morning, first thing I'm thinking is, what's in it for me today? And if I don't reset that default setting and think, what can I give and how can I help, I'm never going to get through to someone to have them trust me enough to invite me to be their trusted advisor. Because to get to a close, they've got to trust me enough to share with me. And they're not going to do that if they can feel and sense that all I want to do is make a sale.
I'm nodding away here because Jason and I were talking about closing a few weeks ago, because I was going through this problem of actually selfishness, yeah, and waking up in the morning and saying, right, who am I going to close today, yeah, and Jason said you need to just trust that someone's gonna buy, right, and I actually made a sale within 3 days of talking to him about this. And I didn't even have to make a sale. Like the client was like, I was like, no, perhaps this isn't for you. This is for people like you, but it may not be what you need. And then she said, I want to buy it. Like, where do I pay? And I was like, oh, okay, here you go. And I just sent her the link, right? So it's a funny thing. It's like a kind of, you have this tension, don't you, that sits in here of your desperate needs. Perhaps for some you would call them desperate needs. For others, they're more kind of greed or stress. But it all sort of feels quite bad, doesn't it? And I think the moment you start enjoying business and selling, there isn't any tension here because you love helping people to get what they need, right?
Most salespeople have been cured at some moment of this anti-sales virus. It's usually because they get so needy and so greedy and so selfish usually in a bad sales slump. Every day that goes by, I don't sell something, I get more of a desire to sell something. It builds to a point that I may say to my best friend, spouse, partner, somebody, oh, they're going to fire me. I can't sell anything. I'm going to go to work tomorrow and just have fun and help somebody. And then they go do that and a sale happens, except then they call the first person. I always ask them, the first person they call when that happens is their boss. And they usually say, I'm back. I'm a closer. The next person's not going to have a chance. The next person doesn't have a chance. I'm going to grab them by the throat and I'm going to sell them something. And they've reinfected themselves with the anti-sales virus.
I got a question. Another question for Mike. Isn't that that situation is occurring again and again for those people, and they feel sick themselves, they unsicken themselves, right? Because of quotas. Like corporate quotas, we need to satisfy the shareholder. So you guys, you have like 20 minutes, 1 week, 5 days, you must reach that milestone, that flag. Let's meet at the door. You need to bring me 200K at the end of the day, then 5 million at the end of the week. We need to close to over 20 million at the end of the month. And that puts so much pressure on people that I do agree with you. They're infecting themselves. And even if they take a kind of magic potion, right, and then they start enjoying what they do, they will re-inject themselves with that unnecessary pressure of the quotas. We know the quotas are here. We know that we must make some money to help the company pay back the shareholders. But in the first instance, in the first stages, we were in there asking Wall Street for, hey, can I borrow you some money so I can do my shit? And then after I will pay you back by stressing out salespeople.
We would have never 40 years ago, when this really started to ramp up, 40, 50 years ago, we would have never done this way with the intent what we're going to do is build a process that builds so much pressure and tension, as Jason was talking, and Jason's comment to Nathaniel was perfect. People are going to buy. I think one of the big fallacies is that we think we convince people to buy something. I've been asking an audience for 30 years, how many of you have gone out and bought something you didn't already plan to buy? When was the last time you did that? Especially anything over $1,000. When was it? Nobody says they do that. Nobody convinces them to do that. They bump into somebody who helps them with something they've already decided they want to do. So that's that tension relief. They're going to buy. People are buying every day. To your quotas point, back to my coaching and mentoring side, the thing I learned and my equation for achievement, Moore's law of achievement that I've designed, is that attitudes plus skills plus actions equal results. We get focused on the results, we screw up our attitude.
Exactly.
If we can stay on, and you can't affect the sum equals results. You have to affect the equation, attitude, skills, and actions. And the only one of those that's unlimited is my attitude. My time, my actions are limited. My skill level hits some plateaus, but my attitude, my mind, and when I talk about attitude, it's not being positive. It's being mentally tough so I can be positive when I need it. It's having a mindset that is broader and that I am here to help, here for a higher purpose. I'm not just here to get something. I mean, we've all learned, we've all met, we all know people. And if I get everything on my wish list, I won't be any happier than I am today, period. I may have a moment of joy when I achieve it, but that goes away quickly. So if I can stay focused on that attitude, skill, or action, keep learning, growing, and improving, my results take care of themselves. And I think that was Jason's point to Nathaniel's. Like, do what you're supposed to do. Help somebody. I think the funny thing, too, on a retail side, the worst greeting that now exists is, how can I help you?
Yeah.
And yet, for 30 years in surveys, consumers have said the number one thing they want when they go shopping is help. So we're so disconnected from helping people. So your trusted advisor part, Stefan, you become a trusted advisor because they believe you really want to help them. If they believe that, but you can't fake that.
Very interesting point. I think you're right on that. I used to work in retail, and I think there are ways to greet people and there are ways not to greet people, right? Yep. And I think it's also cultural dependent, and it's also age dependent as well, right? You know, yep. It's very interesting. Very interesting. Thanks, Mike. I'm really pleased. I decided to invite you over.
we have to do more of this, and I got to hear some of Jason's thoughts on. We'll have to do something that's strictly talking about closing in the future and generating more sales. It's, for me, the leadership side of this is where it goes forward. When Stefan talked about companies infect, and companies do a terrible job infecting their salespeople with the quotas and with focusing on the result instead of the I got to a place where and it dawned on me in sales management that I would teach the right things to my salespeople. Then at the end of a coaching session, look at them and say, now go sell something. And I just infected them. So I stopped doing that and started asking them every day, who did you help today? Because you can do that every day. You can't sell. Sometimes you can't sell every day, but you can help people every day. And if you do that, your sales increase. Leaders have to get into that. It's the issue of, we're in this customer experience era. We can't have a good customer experience if you don't have a good employee experience. So for leaders, you got to make the employee experience a joy if you want your customers to love you.
So I have an idea for you, Mike, and for the team here, Jason and Nathaniel, and that's a proposal. Let's create a series based on you, Mike, called Change the Conversation. Sure. And then we go for all the topics and we enroll all the exercise and the mentoring, the coaching, and the tips, including blueprints that people could get on. Right.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Sounds good. Jason?
All of that funnels right down.
He can't say anything. His microphone's gone.
Again? Oh my God.
We joked earlier when the microphone goes from a sales guy, it's a terrible thing.
Oh my God. I can just feel it. Just don't pick up the screen and kick it or anything like that. Have you seen that? Have you seen that video that went around where the guy goes crazy in the office, right? And he gets on the desk. I think he had a hammer, didn't he? Didn't he have a sledgehammer? And he's just smashing the things up. Eventually, someone tackles him to the ground.
Yep.
So don't go doing that, Jason. Don't smash anything up, dude. It's not going to be good.
Not worth it. And then he will have to buy another computer.
Yeah.
Or the sledgehammer if he breaks the sledgehammer.
We have such a relationship with our technology. When it doesn't work, it's worse. I saw an interesting new list of Maslow's hierarchy, and the bottom two were battery life and connectivity. And when we lose those, none of the rest of his hierarchy even matters because we're in such stress. So
Yeah, I've been lucky to have worked for NSIT, Insight Enterprises, and those guys during 2 years they have really trained me like a U.S. Marine camp would have, and I'm quite now making the differentiation, even in the purchases and the procurement, about what is a professional battery from any kind of battery for the grand public, right? Yep. So I have equipped myself with professional gear. And even now, you can use computers with AI modules in it that are switching from one device to another, depending on what kind of application you're using. Yep. And it does that automatically because they are understanding what is the activation of the IT process, even in a computer. So I'm quite happy. I don't have any issues with microphones or webcams or such like this.
No, I think when you get used to this program, it usually works fine, but it just depends. It just depends really. But Mike, thank you so much for sharing some valuable wisdom with us. I think, the listeners are going to really appreciate it. And we'd certainly love to have you back and see if we can do this series that Stefan was talking about.
I would be all in. I will end, Nathaniel, by telling you, and for Stefan, I started in retail, and my first manager in retail and men's clothing was from the UK, been hired because that's where men's clothing and professional sales of men's clothing. We had tailor shop in the store, the whole bit. That's the first person that trained me about sales. So I have a great affinity for the professionalism that I learned from across the pond, we'll say.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. I actually learned how to sell in a wine merchant's. We had a big chain of wine merchants here, and I was trained, about how to teach, basically how to just make people really happy. So they would bring a bottle of wine back, and they would say, "Oh, this wine is terrible. It's something wrong with the cork," and I'd say, "Oh, I'm terribly sorry, sir. Allow me to give you another bottle." And then I would go and pick a bottle that was like £2 more than the first one. And I would say, "This one's a little bit more expensive, but please take it on us." And these people, they were so happy. It was just crazy. It was hilarious. But the thing is that they empowered us to be ambassadors for the company. And I still have that. I still think that any employee, it doesn't matter who they are in that business, they need to behave like an ambassador, right? Yeah. So that's my ethos,
I think it's not about the product or the sell; it's about the relationship. This is why I was offering that idea to do some. Let's change the conversation series.
Yeah. It's a great idea. We do that all the time, Stefan. All the time. Yeah, I understand. by doing this.
Okay. That's a disruption that needs to happen.
Yeah.
Right? The process needs to be disrupted so that there can be real relationships developed. So.
Very much so. So, Jason, have you got your microphone back?
I think I do.
Yes.
Tell me. Okay,
excellent. So are you up for doing like a series of sales webinars with Mike and us?
I mean, there have been things I've wanted to say all along. Like, for one, even though our company is called The Closing Engine, Mike, what we do is way back up the chain, right? And it is all about making sure that it's the right fit for the person, and not about ripping anybody off.
Yeah, I looked at your stuff, Jason. That's why when I saw you,
it's a little bit of it.
Yeah.
There's a note on that whiteboard behind me. It's one of 3 things I think that's up there that I leave up there permanently, and it goes like this: when your attitude is right, the facts don't matter.
Amen.
And it's purely because what people think of are facts are not facts at all. They're opinions.
Yes.
Most of the things that we believe are true, but we hem ourselves into little corners and fences that we put up by these things that we believe are facts.
That's right.
So, that's why I said.
My Southern clients would say that would preach. That would preach.
Mm-hmm.
We get our beliefs in the way, and then we hold on to them so strongly that we won't let anybody change our mind. And that's why I said when I looked at your stuff, I thought, hey, we're in the same world. We're in the same.
He's brilliant as well. I've been watching his stuff for years. He's been doing so many videos over the last 5-6 years, and I've been watching those. But your content, Mike, stuck out to me because of the quotes. You share a lot. Mike shares a lot of inspirational quotes, and they sort of pop up at just the time when you need them, kind of thing, you know?
It's the coach.
I wanted to ask him before we left, or before you had to go, Mike. I was watching a quick video clip of you presenting from the stage, and you said you were quoting around the the thing that's attributed to Einstein, the insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. But you had a little modification to that. And I think our listeners would get a lot of value from hearing what you have to say.
I think Einstein's comes from exactly what you were talking about, Jason. We get those beliefs and those walls up, just keep beating our head. Mine is that for the last 4 decades, everybody I speak to goes to work trying to find an easy way to do their job.
Yeah.
Yet when I ask them, when was the last time easy produced excellence? Everybody knows it doesn't. So my definition of insanity is to try to find the easy way and expect excellence as a result. It doesn't happen. Easy's never produced excellence.
Very nice.
I like
Very
that.
nice.
I like that. I spotted that earlier, and I think you're completely right. The pain and torture seems to, as long as you're enjoying what you're doing, right, it just drives you to just do more, right? To just you know, you can always aspire to be perfect, right? But no one's perfect. And when people say they're a perfectionist, I kind of just run away from them, because a perfectionist never gets anything done. Like if I was a perfectionist, I wouldn't be on this webinar right now. Do you know what I mean? Because you know, and then we'd lose out on all the great value that we can deliver. Really,
we figure it out as we go, and so we learn from the mistakes. So if you're waiting for it to be perfect, you, as you said, you do nothing. You just contemplate. There's a lot of brilliant people who sit and do nothing. So that goes back to the actions issue. I got to take actions to improve my skills, and I got to have the right attitude, as Jason was talking about. Without that, I'm going to sit and do nothing and make excuses. I'll end with part of that easy never produces excellence for me. We all have a set of human default settings. We seek comfort, we make excuses, we seek the easy way, and we're selfish. And if we don't reset those every day, and sometimes multiple times during the day, and we're not aware of them, the real emotional intelligence issue is, am I aware that I'm in my default mode and that's going to get in my way? And do I reset that so I can be in my higher level, higher self? Now I can produce better results. So I'll leave you with that. And I would love to do a series with you guys, because I have all the admiration in the world for all of what you guys are doing, and would love to participate. So I'm all in.
Fantastic. That's really great news, Mike. Really appreciate it. So yeah, we'll definitely share the recording with you. And I'm going to get cracking with my slides now.
Yes, get going. Appreciate it, guys. We'll be in touch.
You bet.
Fantastic. Thank you, Mike.
Isn't he great?
It's wild.
He's so cool, right?
Yeah,
I knew you'd like him.
He reminded me of a concept that I talk about occasionally, and it's like I've been an artist for years, like 20 years, 25 years, and also I've seen the same principle in action, both in as simple as something as moving crates around a warehouse with a forklift, or managing change with a company of 1,000 people or more. And it's this, whether it's the artwork or the forklift moving crap around or the big change management with the huge company, everything good looks like crap halfway through. It's a freaking disaster. And you're like, I've made a mess with this painting. How am I going to fix it? Or the organization of the crates and stuff, the pallets, is a disaster, and I've got to reorganize it. Or the change management is exploding in our faces and people are resisting the change and that, and we have to fix it. And every time we can come to a great ending, right? A great conclusion. But that is what I got from him, reminding us that, it's hard work to be excellent.
Yeah.
Right. And so we have to get the expectation in our heads that, no, this is not going to be easy. And it's going to look like crap halfway through, probably.
Yeah.
And
we might
will give up there. Right? We will not.
Well, exactly. And that's exactly
okay, this is the way it is. Good. It looks like crap. Good. It means we're halfway through.
Let's do it, man. Should we check out the slides? I put together
I'm excited about your slides. You got a nice presentation here.
Yeah, Stefan kicked me. He gave me a kick yesterday, and he said, "What are you doing, Nathaniel? You need to put some better slides together." And I was like, "All right." So I stayed up late, and I put them together. And so, they're not perfect, but they're pretty good. I'm pretty happy with them, and I'd love to talk you guys through them if you like. That would be fantastic.
We have slides. Are you sure?
I think you have some.
Stop it. You're giving away the show here, Nat. You are giving away the process.
I'm giving away the process. Yeah, this is great, here. Right? And people can we're actually going to provide a download in exchange for an email of this presentation as well, so people can actually download it.
Because Jason was asking what happens with the account-based marketing server, etc., etc. We've been slowing down the weekly webinars for that to get deployments on the cloud. So that's done. Now we have talked with several customers, prospects, and partners, and everybody was like, "Hey, you know what would be cool if we could see the end results or the living process, but in action, like." We're shooting with real bullets here, and we are showing real data, because people, as Mike was saying, they are sick and tired. I mean, customer audience, about elevator pitches, whatever you have to sell the product. No, just it's all about listen or about watching, like it's conceptual, right? Yeah. So we've been upgrading the game because now people will not be giving totally away the process, but if you have blueprints and you can use it for free, because you are really understanding that we are here to help, right? All the base, all the people, the public, the audience, and potential customer, they will kickstart the personal branding blueprint, and they won't start from scratch when coming to us or to other specialists. The competition is there. It's still an open field economy with competition, so everybody is okay to choose whoever they want to work with.
Of course, and yeah, exactly. And if that relationship isn't there, I'd rather not work with people. To be honest, I'd rather they went somewhere else.
It's like Formula One, right? You're starting in Formula 3, then you're doing the regional championship, and at some point, your engine, your chassis, your engineers are not good enough. So you need to leverage the budget to get some bigger team with bigger resources, and then you are now at the Grand Prix and you're competing with the best. This is where you make money, and you're really on top of your game.
I agree. I agree. Sorry to interrupt there. I mean, I think that's the whole point of personal branding. Like, if there are millions and millions, there are billions of people in the world, and you know, if you are ambitious, then you need to take control of your personal brand. If you want to secure your life the way it is, you still need to take control of your personal brand. The personal brand works alongside the business brand. And we've got a whole load of slides here. So please, could you, this is a blueprint that we're sharing. So please, could you jump on to the next slide? Thank you. So I can't actually see this very well, Stefan. So would you mind blowing it up, please? I think we should be able to, hopefully. May not be able to here. I can't see it too clearly on my machine, I'm afraid.
Let me magnify to full screen.
Yes, please.
No, you do.
Oh, I do.
On your Facebook page, you just magnify to full screen.
Oh, on my Facebook page. Right. Hold on.
Okay.
I'm gonna.
If you got to kick me into the lobby to make more room, that's cool.
No, it's not. It's okay. The broadcasting server can do that. It's all about not watching yourself in the lobby room. You just put it aside, right? But you have to go on the Nathaniel Schooler's page.
Yeah, I'm going to go there, and then I need to mute it.
You do full screen. You do full screen, and you just hands off, right? And then after, you just ask me to move along the slides.
Okay, I'm just going to have to mute the video when it pops
up. Every
up,
time now,
because it'll pop up in a second. Here we go. Oops, we'll get there. We'll get there. It takes a little bit of time to get these things right, you know. And yeah, I've got some quite interesting slides to share today, so it's certainly worth sticking around. Here we go. Fantastic, and it's muted already. Wow, that's cool, man.
Isn't that cool?
Oh, it was muted. Right, here we go. So everyone has a personal brand. Like it or not, you have a personal brand. Exactly what I was saying. So I didn't even need to read this slide. So either you own your personal brand and you take control of it, or Google and other internet giants actually take control of how people see you. Hello?
Yeah, no, come on.
Okay, cool. Sorry, I heard a bit of static.
We just had some delayed feedback there.
Okay, I heard a bit of static there in my ear as well. So, yeah, I was saying that either you own your personal brand, or Google and the other internet giants actually take control of it and how people see you from the outside, basically. So you do have to put in the groundwork to be seen, and also to be taken seriously from people who potentially will actually spend money with you, and also the business that you either own or you work for, right? So once your brand is looking great, you get all the opportunities that suit you, because obviously if you're authentic, you're going to get the right opportunities. So just take the time to follow the next few slides and begin to build your personal brand, right? So words always come first, before video, before logos, before profile pictures, basically, and definitely before social media. I've left out social media. I was in a bit of a rush with these slides. Would you mind skipping on to the next one, please, Maestro?
Yeah, Maestro will comply.
Advancing.
So yeah, it's quite an exciting presentation, this one, because I go through a few examples.
Yep.
There we go. Hello. Right. So yes, I am Nathaniel Schooler, and I do personal branding for ambitious people just like you. Because if you're watching this, I would imagine you're an ambitious individual. You can find me on Twitter at Nat Schooler. And as you can see, that's an award that I won from LinkedIn. That was a year or so ago. I actually threw it in the bin a couple of weeks back because the name actually fell off. So what can I say? It was a bit cheap, really. It felt very heavy, but unfortunately, the kind of numbers and stuff fell off. So what can I say? Would you mind passing on to the next slide, please?
Yeah.
I can't actually see it because I'm slightly delayed here.
Yeah.
So
says where to begin, brand elements.
Here we go. So yeah, and to the next one, please. So I'm going to outline all the key steps that you guys need to take when you're actually building your personal brand. The same steps that I've taken, and the same steps, in fact, that many, many businesses have taken as well over the years. And it really needs to be focused around you. And if you love what you do, you will never have to work a day in your life. Lao Tzu said that, and that was a long, long time ago in China, right? And I live this. I live this, Jason. You live this motto, and many of the people, Stefan does, and many of the people that we know love what they do, right? So
yeah, he's the Tao teacher.
Yeah, he's the Tao guy.
For those who don't know. And it means old man.
Well, I think it must be a couple thousand years ago now, right?
Yeah,
Lao Tzu.
Yep.
Yeah. Maybe more. So there really is no limit to your personal brand. You can create the life that you don't need a vacation from. And putting the time in right now to build your blueprint is really, really important. So I'm going to outline that in the next few slides. Could you skip on, please? And we will outline the whole process for you. So you could go away and you could actually create your own personal brand just from watching this webinar. So first of all, step one, you need to explain what you do to people in words that they understand, right? And I know you know a lot about this, Jason, and listing 3 to 5 benefit-led statements is a great place to start. What do you do for others needs to be explained very, very simply with very few words, because this is a blueprint, right? This document is not an essay. It's not even a paragraph. It's a blueprint document that you use for all of your communications. And this is the same as what you would use if you were building a brand, actually, a big business brand, right? So I worked with a top class PA/business manager, and she actually worked with a number of amazing people. The CEO of McLaren, she worked for the Saudi Arabian royal family. She worked for the most amazing CEOs, right? And she managed to actually get a job within 5 days of doing the personal brand blueprint. She was made redundant by an oil company she was working for. She loved her job, and I was very lucky to help her with her personal brand. She was the first person I worked with, and she managed to get a job, I think, with someone very high up in Facebook, actually. I'm not going to say who she was, but because working with very, very experienced, very rich people, sometimes you can't actually divulge who you work for. So that's the first person, and that was quite amazing. So also a top marketer, if you want to be known, you design the best customer experiences. That was another benefit-led statement. So could you jump on to the next one, please, Maestro? And yeah, I think that is very important to get these words very simply explained. That's absolutely crucial, So if you can explain them really, really simply, it's gonna pay. And dividends.
That is not easy.
No,
that is not easy. After many years of running my own businesses, I'm still not great at it, and that's where somebody should come to you. Matt, and they'll get a lot of help.
Thank you, Jason. Yeah,
you helped me last week. If we did a little bit of an exercise for 20 minutes or so.
I mean, I think you understand now how much time it actually takes. It's not a kind of, I'll just stick my finger out the window, come up with a few words.
In 10 minutes this will be done.
No,
nope.
It's not. And it really, like Mike was saying, everything that you do, it's not easy, but then it produces good results, really great results. So, it is very, very worthwhile. So then I recommend people list 3 to 5 authority and credibility statements. Okay. So have you won awards? How long have you been in the industry? Who have you worked with? Etc. Yeah. Don't worry if you're new to a particular industry. You can actually use other people's statements. So you could work with someone. You could say, well, I work with Jason Kanigan, and he does work with IBM and Microsoft, for example. Yeah. So you can leverage your associates if you're working within a company. And that's very, very helpful, actually, because it builds instant credibility. So, yeah, I arranged 20 high-profile podcast guests in month 1. So these are just some examples. Could you please jump on to the next one?
Done.
I mean, I personally, I think the key differentiating statements, which is the next slide that we're going to, they are, I think, quite difficult to come up with. But I think you can list 3 to 5 key differentiating statements of why you are better and different than anyone else, what makes you unique. If you were a business, it would be called a unique selling point. Yeah. And, you know, so marketers and social media managers would say set new performance delivery standards for social media campaigns, or business-led insights to deliver real tangible results, you know. So these are just some examples. I mean, I like to say that I don't use any techno speak or meaningless jargon. That was one of the ones that I used to use. And I think I'm going to go back to that because people actually quite like that, you know. So would you mind jumping on to the next one, please?
Done.
Yeah, it takes a little bit of time for it to click through. I'm just going to have a look. Yeah, so the private cornerstone words. These are words that I recommend people actually take the time to ask their friends. They ask their colleagues, etc., etc., and that's really, really helpful, actually. So these are words that would represent you if someone talked about you behind your back, right? And you know, I think ideally you want 5, could have 4 of these, and that's really useful for you to actually know, because it gives you a kind of intent behind the words that you use, and it will help you to see yourself actually in a different way, which is very, very useful. Could you jump on to the next one, please?
Sure, done. Ready to build your brand?
So yeah, I mean, if you are ready to build your brand, you now have a license. You have a license to create content. Okay. I'm going to give you that license. If you've spent the time to create an authentic personal brand blueprint, you've created all these statements that we've discussed in this webinar. You can now use this brand blueprint to build your wording for your social media and for your website content. Then you can create content and you can use these words in your personal brand and in your communications, and then you can build reach, because building reach is also important for your personal brand. You might not need to actually build a massive reach if you're directly contacting people one-to-one and they're actually responding, but it depends, and that goes back down to your plan, right, Jason? Yeah.
And we've discussed that, how you can back into some numbers in your activity level.
Yeah.
Which is part of what Mike was talking about.
Yeah, exactly. So exactly. So if you're
all connected.
Yeah. So if you're hitting 100 people, then you know 1 or 2 of them is gonna buy, right? So you know, could you skip on to the next one, please? Because there's some great statistics actually that I found in some of these slides. I'm really quite happy with these, because I spent a little bit of time researching this, and I found some fantastic information out there on the internet. In fact, quite interesting stuff. So a couple of slides down the line, I've got some great stuff. So once you get your blueprint right, you can hire a great photographer and you can hire a designer, and you can use the words right to brief them. Yeah. Would you mind jumping on to the next slide, please, Stefan?
Here you are.
It's really weird because I'm seeing myself like about couple minutes ago. It's very strange.
The broadcast from Facebook goes like 3 to 5 seconds lag, between what you say and what they stream. It's completely normal.
Yeah. So Jason and I have talked about this. Dreams plus work equals success, right? And that's related directly to the personal brand, right? Would you mind jumping on to the next one, please?
Here we are.
Yeah, we'll get there. It's funny to have the little lag here with the slides. Yeah, I mean, we talked about this a bit earlier. You know, work and passion and skills, once they go together, you've really hit a sweet spot there. And that's when you're going to become quite happy in your career. You're going to really enjoy what you're doing a lot more than you perhaps did before, you know. And yeah, I think it's quite exciting, really. Once you nail your personal brand, your career just becomes a lot more enjoyable, and you develop a lot more sales for the business that you're involved with, and for your business if you're an entrepreneur working for yourself and everything else. So leads developed for employees on social media actually convert 7 times more frequently than other leads. Sales reps who use social as part of their techniques to sell outsell peers by 78%, right? And 92% of people trust recommendations from people over brands. It's amazing, Jason. What do you think of that?
Yeah, it's such a huge factor, isn't it?
Massive.
I think Stephen Monaco and I were discussing this kind of thing over the last couple of weeks, and it's massively impactful. I mean,
it's huge, absolutely huge. Would you mind jumping on to the next one, please?
Of course.
Thank you.
So I think that's the location where the field of operation takes place here for personal branding, I think. Because actually there are customers everywhere. It's not a buzz activity. It's not like something you do for a trend, right? Actually, people from South Asia, Australia, South Africa, Spain, Latin America, West Coast, East Coast, everybody is into personal branding because it impacts their growth, right? People are not taking care of that. It's okay, but they are pretty much unconscious about the fact that it does harm their branding to have no personal branding. People don't know who you are, what you do, what you are known for, right? Well, you're a commodity then.
Very much so. So what's on slide 17, please?
Slide 17 is about the 1,700 billion brand value of Apple, because people were asking what's my brand valued for. I'd say it's all about the assets and what you're just accumulating, you know, assets, turnover, customer value, etc.
Yeah, but a brand value is not the sales of the business, right?
No.
A brand value is how much that brand is worth. And this study here, this was on Forbes, but there's another company that does it, like Interbrand. There are certain companies that actually go out and they do a study every year. This was 2017. So Apple was valued, that's number 1 top brand in the world, right? Valued at 170 billion US dollars. That's a lot of noughts, right? And in fact, people have a value as well. Yeah. So if someone has a big audience, if someone is really good at what they do, they have a brand value. Yeah. And that connection needs to be made, right? And people need to understand that a brand value is just reputation. It's reputation of that individual, right? As well as a business.
It goes beyond that too. It's not only about social media influence, because you have a big follower base, because anytime people can fake that. I think one Canadian singer, very young, the millennials, like Justin B, just not to mention who, right? It's got like more 40% of his followers in millions are fake. Why? Because he purchased it, right? Or the company he hired for purchases, so he was not aware. Really? But it's all about also what is your business process and business canvas about, right? What is your secret recipe? You're using methods, technologies, and that is part of your assets. Why? Because you purchased it. You've purchased service. If you're, for example, hiring a personal branding manager for you, it costs money, and that goes in your expenses. And that has a value because if people want to buy your business, they're going to buy back the blueprint of the personal brand because the personal brand is attached about what you do. So if it's around a business, what you do is not you. You are yourself. Now, every day you are doing your job and profession and you have skills. So you make a living out of that. But if you sell that to somebody, you sell the asset. You don't sell your soul. You're still yourself. You can redo the same exercise with the same path. You know your ways, right? And then you start another business. Maybe the personal branding will be a bit different. Things evolve and that's okay with that. But at the end of the day or the end of the selling cycle of your assets, you made that amount of money. If tomorrow the owners of Apple want to sell out to anyone, Apple, someone has to write a check of $170 billion. Good luck.
Exactly. So would you mind dropping into the next one? I think there's only a handful more, so it's not going to take too much time, I don't think.
A few other numbers, right? Just with the reach. Yeah,
there are some more numbers here. So when you are sharing on social media, you get 561% more from employees sharing the brand messaging versus a brand account. You have content is shared 24 times more frequently from personal accounts and 8 times more engagement from employees versus the brand accounts. And that's amazing, right? These figures just blew me away when I saw them. I've been searching for some figures on personal branding for ages. And now we have a tangible outcome, right? We have a tangible outcome for business that's been proved, yeah? So the process is easy, right? You craft the brand blueprint, you build the content, okay? And then you grow the reach. And obviously, as you grow the reach, you have conversations and then you deal in transactions. Yeah. So would you mind jumping on to the next one?
I think that would be about the key concepts. If you can, go for the overall.
Yeah, just very quickly. Yeah. So you need to explain what you do very, very simply. You need to explain what gives you credibility and authority to build trust. You need to explain why you're different and or better than anyone else. And then you need to have some cornerstone words that you understand about yourself that reflect your personality, basically. Then you need to create authentic content, video, audio, written content, which you can actually share in places so that people buy from you. And you can amplify this content. And that is really, really important to get that content out there into the ether so people can actually see it. And that's really quite important as well. So would you mind jumping on to the next slide, please?
Yeah, it will. I had a question from the internet, like from my BBTV audience. It goes like, does it impact lead generation? Does personal branding impact lead generation?
Of course. But lead generation is something that you can do. But if it's going to make your lead generation easier, right? So the better you look, it means that you're more likely to get a response. Is that something you'd agree with, Jason?
Well, I think there's two sides to this. One, if you're very clear about who you are and what you do and who you do it for, it makes people who know you have a much easier time recommending you to other people, right? And so they're going to bring you leads because they understand what you do. rather than, well, I don't know, Nat's kind of good at marketing, right?
Yeah, exactly.
No, oh crap, you, sir, are in a position where you need help with your personal branding. You need to go talk to Nat Schooler, right? The second part of it is the qualification process, in which somebody, say, randomly bumps into you, or they see something of your content. Again, if you have clarity about what you're doing, it will allow that viewer or that reader, whoever's looking at your content, qualify themselves in or out. Is this a fit for me or not? Very easily.
Yeah.
So that, which is great, because when they do talk to you, you don't want your time wasted, right? Talking to somebody who you can't help or who isn't a fit to work with. If they are a fit, then that's great that they're already sold on why they should talk to you, at least. Right? That's a huge advantage, isn't it?
Very much so. It's going to save you time and effort. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah. So it is valuable for lead generation. Absolutely.
Yeah, it is. And I mean, I think as you tell your story, like you can see a picture here. This was, I think, at Google. I went to Google campus in London, and that was taken next to an Android robot there, right? That tells a story. It tells you that I'm out and about. I'm a fun guy. I like technology, and could you please jump onto the next slide? And I think when you're telling your story, you are building an audience. That audience is becoming more aligned to you. They will like you more because the content you are actually sharing resonates with them. So I went to Guatemala and went to visit my Chinese Tai Chi instructor, right? So I look after my health. So I'm gonna engage more with people who are more excited about looking after their health. And that gives us more of a good relationship. And that is absolutely crucial, Could you jump on to the next one, please?
Yeah, I'm doing that.
What's going on with AI and salespeople is, in fact, now they're actually allocating salespeople based upon the interests of the salesperson and of the person who's actually going to buy, right? And that's what they're doing. So think content, use it to depict what you care about and build relationships. Yeah. Could you jump on to the next one, please? Because it's all about relationships, and personal brand builds relationships. And if you just jumped on board to watch this video, please let us know at the end, and we can send you a copy of this presentation so you can understand what it's all about. And these are just some examples of some of the clients that we've been lucky to work with. And Stephen Monaco, after I talked to him, he did a really great job of revamping his website, and he put all these logos there. And he's a forward-thinking marketing strategist, trusted advisor, best-selling author, and he did a great job. Could you jump on to the next one, please, Stefan?
Yes. Tim Elliott.
Yeah, Tim. So Tim's fantastic. He's a Virgin startup mentor. He used to work at the Chartered Institute of Marketing as a tutor, and he's a very experienced marketer. He's also a customer journey designer. That's his main thing, and he found it great working with me, and he got a great result. He got new clients, launched a new successful marketing event with people who started going to that. And that's going to run next year as well. This year he's got another instance of that event happening. I think it's in October. So that he's very, very happy. He recorded a video for me. Would you mind jumping to the next one?
Sure. And
so there are a couple other here.
Tim is in the UK, right?
Yeah, Tim is the UK. Yeah.
So we'll jump across the pond to join Canada, I think.
Oh, cool. So we've got I think there's Sandra there, who I did some work with a few weeks ago, and she was so happy once we'd done some work. I helped her to work out her strap line, all sorts of personal branding stuff, helped with her product branding for a new tech product she's launching. And we as a company in Canada, we're helping with the trademark as well, which is really quite exciting. And then obviously there's Stefan's one, which is the next slide, which, we spent a bit of work on. And Stefan is a very complex individual. He has so many skills. He's been to so many courses, studied so many different things that it was not easy. And, you know, he's doing advanced branding, strategically, differentiation and innovation. It was not easy.
Yes,
so
that means that there are several levels with personal branding that you can have with Nathaniel Schooler. So I'm here to witness and make some customers testimony about it. Of course, you guys, if you're into personal branding for your first time because you're taking care of it, for the first year, for example, you need a blueprint, you need to practice, you need to be storytellers. But that's so important. If you're doing that now for the past 5 to 8 years, that you would probably go into advanced managed service with Nathaniel Schooler. Because I want really to testify here that Nathaniel Schooler is an advanced personal branding manager in the terms that he is doing some research, scientific research and development. He goes for the workshop with that, and he gathers teams around you to get you where you have to be. And now it's not like competing versus another persona, it's being at the same level of cooperation. So I've been lucky, you know, to consult Nathaniel, and it helped me to do a lot of things this past year, to work with Dassault System Education. We became 2 years ago incubated for the Autodesk Startup Program, and that would go until 2021, and that's still running, as well as Drake International, which are in human resources, but on the cloud solution side. That's a lot. And for personal branding itself, I've been lucky to be part of a great team of brand ambassador for the #1 personal branding platform that you can have actually, which is bb.com. It's the Spanish startup invading United States as well. And since the past 2 years, they had a growth of up to 12 million users. So yes, you have a blogging platform, things like that. This is what I wanted to show here the audience a little bit about BB. So you can practice, tell stories like this, you know, and have a complete follower base and audience. It gives you an idea about your viewers. So I'm quite happy that Nathaniel helped me with that. So we will go on again with the slides for the personal branding, and I think Jason is going to jump back. Jason, you're back, right?
Ding. Am I back? Ding.
Yeah, so I'm
very grateful for that, for your help, Nathaniel.
Thank you. It's certainly been a lot of fun, and yeah, I think. What have we got? Any other slides, or is that the last? Is that the last one?
The farewell slide.
Oh, okay. Well, it's been really great, and yeah, I really appreciate everyone dropping by. If you want to drop me an email or find me on Twitter, you can always message me on Facebook, and I'll be happy to help. Just revamping my website right now, so that will be launched the next week or two. And yeah, please contact me if you need some assistance. And obviously, Jason or Stefan are happy to help as well if you need some help with any marketing or sales, business, ecosystems, and things like this.
So
thank you.
We will add in the comment section some links, right, where people can go on landing pages, and in exchange of their data and information, they can receive a PDF version of this if they want to take that with them, to have like the best practice. Otherwise, yeah, no problem. This is going to be more and more interactive every day on Facebook, on LinkedIn, on BB as well, and on other social media, because it's time to do it, right?
Yeah.
At some point,
definitely.
You know, talk is good, doing is better.
Yeah, definitely. Well, thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun, and look forward to next week. I'm going to find us a really great guest for next week. I'm not sure who yet, but we'll get one.
Yes. And thank you for the audience to follow up with us. I think there is here Patricia Sommer.
Thank you, Patricia.
Yeah, thanking us for the great conversation. And we look forward for the next Friday with the personal branding webinar. Jason, anything to ask? I think you're having a webinar for the closing engine soon, right? No?
This afternoon, yes. Yeah, I do this in the morning, and then Friday afternoons, the sales call overhaul live show.
So you're warming up with us, right? Is that it?
It's probably being thrown in the deep end with you guys. More than warming up.
Usually
and it's sink or swim, and I usually choose to swim. So, yeah. So anybody who wants to catch that can just connect with me on Facebook, and then they'll see the link to that.
We're happy to
Very
do
cool.
so.
Yeah. But I really enjoyed this today, Nat. Mike was a great guest. I'm going to enjoy connecting with him. And this presentation was very good too. I hope people appreciate it because that is the guts of what you do.
Yeah.
And I guess in a couple of weeks when your website's back up, people will be able to get Cheers to You, your book as well, which outlines this process, which I was able to buy very early on when you released it, I think a month or two back.
Yeah,
and, I liked it a lot.
Thank you.
Also, Nathaniel will offer the opportunity to the audience to buy some groups tickets to do some master classes all together. Because sometimes people are not jumping into personal branding because it's like, oh my god, it's a budget and they have to make choice. So sometimes if you're coming like 4 or 5 of you, well, you divide the price of a session by 2, by 3, by 4, by 5, right? And that makes the thing here, so you can go further in all those investment process that you have to go through to compress the time, because everybody wants a result tomorrow, right? Everybody's impatient to succeed. But the thing is that you can't skip the stages. You can't skip the milestone. You have to go through every exercise, every step. So I will wrap up on this, guys. Thank you for being here.
Appreciate it.
This week, this Friday, for the personal branding. And I'm really excited and looking forward for the next stunt.
Yeah, me too. Me too. Thank you so much, and have a fantastic weekend.
Take care, guys. Thank you.